What's up, everyone? Have you ever stopped to think about that weird feeling that some people see right through you, beyond the surface? Well, that's exactly it. Today, we're going to touch on an almost mystical secret that most guys don't even dream exists. The feminine super radar for masculine energy. I'm not talking about seduction techniques, no. The conversation here is about the authentic magnetism that emanates when your life force is in command. It's the game of inner power, the only one you can't fake. If you want to understand why some men attract everything without effort and others have to shout to be seen, stick with us until the end. By the way, so you don't miss the next chapter in this journey of awakening, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because the knowledge that frees is just beginning. Looky here, there's a kind of hidden antenna, a biological compass that operates in all women and that goes beyond the basics of touch, smell, and sight. The thing is this. They have an instinctive, almost primitive understanding to sense the exact moment a man has tightened the belt on his sexual engine. It's not reasoning that kicks in, no, it's instinct. The pure frequency that makes the connection happen on a level that logic tries in vain to explain. A lot of people think you can fix the outside, sidestep the lack of self-control with a straight posture, a rehearsed speech, or that social acting performance. Pure delusion. Because of this inherent sensitivity, the woman immediately catches the scent of energy loss or the high vibration of the guy who took the gold and turned it into a magnet of power. Science confirms it. The feminine nervous system is like a house of mirrors for the finest changes. She reads the micro-expressions, and her intuition works like a detective of masculine truth. When the guy rules his own energy, what radiates from him is a melody that ignites interest, draws respect, and generates attraction in that dark hole of the primitive and the profound. We're going to find out exactly how the feminine body knows who has mastered their energy, what the frequency is that is felt without being said, and how sexual mastery makes your presence so loud that it's impossible to turn away. It's not the work of a magician, no, it's genuine magnetism that blossoms when your fundamental force starts working an octave higher. If you want to understand how the female sex truly sees the male sex, if your goal is to become that magnet that attracts by the power that comes from within, and not by the sweat that comes from without, if you sense that sexual control might be the master key to being a man who transcends the ordinary, then stay with us until the final minute. This insight into feminine perception is going to put your way of cultivating your energy in the world through a complete overhaul. The woman carries with her an energy sensing system that was refined over a forgotten span of time to feel the weight of the masculine vibration with a precision that is almost frightening. This ability is not the stuff of fortune tellers, no. It's a sophisticated biological adaptation that serves to instantly X-ray a man's emotional stability, reproductive potential, and life force through signals so subtle they seem airy. Neuroscience confirms that the female brain has a higher density of neurons in the regions responsible for analyzing feelings, reading faces, and understanding what the body is saying. This superpowered neural architecture works like a scanner that scrutinizes the man's energy in a matter of seconds. When a man takes the reins of his sexual force, the electromagnetic field around his body starts playing at a completely different frequency compared to men who waste their vital energy. Women feel the taste of this vibrational difference even if they can't consciously articulate what they're perceiving. It's like the difference between an in-tune musical instrument and an out-of-tune one. You can tell immediately. The feminine nervous system tunes in specifically to the density of the masculine energy. The guy who knows how to conserve his sexual fire radiates a concentrated, compact field that the woman experiences as a solid, trustworthy presence. The man who lives in wastefulness, on the other hand, projects a dispersed, unstable field that is perceived subconsciously as weakness or inconsistency. This information capture happens through multiple channels simultaneously. The woman analyzes the vocal tone. The man who controls himself speaks with a deeper, more resonant voice. They observe the breathing patterns. Conserved energy translates into slower, controlled breathing. They sense the posture. Inner mastery is revealed in natural alignment and a centered presence. The most fascinating aspect is how the woman reacts when her gaze meets that of the man who has tamed his energy. That masculine gaze fueled by conserved force carries such a strong charge that it triggers an automatic alert in their bodies. Pupil dilation, increased heart rate, and activation of the sympathetic nervous system. And there's more. They sense pheromones, those chemical substances that men release unconsciously and that are a mirror of what's going on inside them. The guy who masters his sexuality produces a completely new pheromonal profile, which signals robust health, hormonal stability, and superior genetic potential. This chemical exchange operates below the threshold of conscious thought, but it holds a monstrous power in dictating feminine attraction and interest in a man. There are specific energy markers that the man who has truly grasped sexual mastery automatically radiates, creating a unique vibrational signature that the female sex instinctively recognizes. It's important to make it clear that these markers cannot be copied or faked. They are born from the inside out when the sexual energy is genuinely conserved and transmuted into a powerhouse of personal force. The first of these is that magnet that works in silence. The man who owns his energy doesn't need to shout, make acrobatic gestures, or compete for attention. His conserved energy creates a natural gravitational field that draws feminine attention without him having to ask. Women feel compelled to watch him even when he remains still, centered in his own space. Emotional stability is another powerful indicator. Conserved sexual energy brings the nervous system into order, preventing the guy from being swept away by the first provocation, crying out for attention, or begging for validation from others. This inner peace radiates through his presence like a solid rock in the midst of the turbulent sea of common instability. Authentic confidence, which has nothing to do with the fake confidence that compensates for weakness, is immediately detected by women. The guys who put on a show of confidence to hide inner insecurity project an energy that is strained tight. Men in true sexual mastery radiate a relaxed confidence that comes from the inner knowing that their worth is certain. They don't need to prove anything to anyone. Impulse control is translated into a body that moves with purpose, calculated. Those who waste sexual energy tend to have a body that can't stop, with restless movements or that compulsion to keep fidgeting. True sexual mastery is manifested in economy of motion, where every action is intentional and efficient. Emotional independence is an energy signal that the woman sees with crystal clarity. The man who masters his sexuality doesn't emit that fume of neediness, craving, or emotional dependence. His conserved energy makes him self-sufficient, which, get this irony, makes him more attractive, because he doesn't drain the woman's energy with never-ending demands for attention. Natural authority emerges when the sexual energy is under absolute control. It's not that bossiness that's imposed by shouting, but the leadership that others accept and respect without question. The woman picks up this authority like a shield, the presence of someone who can make those tough decisions and carry the weight of real responsibility. Laser-focused intention is a characteristic that leaps out in the energy. The guy who holds his sexual fire can achieve laser concentration that the woman sees as a captivating intensity. When this man directs his gaze at a woman, she feels the full weight of his focused presence, a sensation that can be both overwhelming and magnetically attractive at the same time. When a man starts his journey towards true sexual mastery, a deep energy transformation occurs that women detect in progressive stages. This change doesn't just stay internal. It spreads through his energy field in ways that fundamentally alter how his masculine presence is perceived and experienced by women. The first phase is the energy cleansing. As the man shuts off the tap of sexual waste, his life force, which was scattered, begins to gather and refine itself. The woman senses this purification as a clarity in his presence. That heavy, dull thing that was there before simply vanishes, leaving an essence that is clearer and more appealing. The second moment is the magnetic intensification. Conserved sexual energy doesn't disappear. It concentrates and amplifies, creating an inner magnetism that women feel like gravitational pull. They describe this experience as feeling drawn towards the man even when he isn't doing anything specific to attract attention. The third phase is vibrational stability. The man achieves a consistency of energy that women experience as deep reliability. There are no more erratic fluctuations between states of high and low energy. This stability is a safe harbor that the woman subconsciously senses as a sign of a partner who won't vanish at the first sign of trouble. The fourth phase is the transcendence of neediness. As the sexual fire turns into inner power, the man stops emitting that scent of necessity or emotional craving. The woman perceives this change as a release of pressure. They no longer feel that sensation of being drained by the energy of needy men. This absence of neediness, paradoxically, increases attraction because it suggests an inner abundance. The fifth moment is the birth of a commanding presence. The conserved and refined energy manifests as a natural authority that the woman instinctively recognizes as genuine leadership. It's not forced domination, but silent power that inspires automatic respect and admiration. The sixth phase is the activation of transcendent creativity. Men in true sexual mastery channel the conserved fire into creative expression that women perceive as genius or divine inspiration. This amplified ability to create becomes a magnet because it speaks of the capacity to build and bring value into the world. The final step is the radiation of a higher purpose. The man who has completely mastered his sexual energy operates from a purpose that transcends mere personal gratification. The woman senses this higher focus as a nobility of character that awakens deep admiration and a desire to support his mission. This complete transformation can take months or years, but women detect the progressive changes at each stage, responding with increasing levels of genuine interest, respect, and attraction. The man who has achieved true mastery of his sexual energy develops a unique magnetic quality that works silently, without the need for words, gestures, or external demonstrations. This magnetism operates at subtle frequencies that women capture through their natural energetic sensitivity, creating an attraction that transcends superficial physical appeal. This silent magnetism first manifests through that centered presence. The man doesn't need to constantly move, talk incessantly, or seek attention through flashy behaviors. His conserved energy creates a natural gravitational field around him that draws feminine attention even when he is simply existing in his own space with tranquility. The inner confidence that emerges from true sexual mastery projects as an invisible aura that women feel even from a distance. This confidence is not arrogance or a sense of superiority. It is the deep knowing of his own worth that does not need to be defended or explained. The woman perceives this inner solidity as a rock in the midst of the storm of common masculine insecurity. The refined emotional control, achieved through sexual mastery, creates an energetic stability that women experience as a safe haven. In a world full of emotionally unstable, reactive, and unpredictable men, the presence of a man who remains centered, regardless of external circumstances, becomes magnetically attractive. The economy of movement and speech characteristic of men in true sexual mastery fascinates women because it suggests concentrated inner power. When every gesture is intentional and every word carries weight, the masculine presence gains a density that women perceive as authentic masculinity versus external performance. The direct, sustained gaze of a man who has mastered his energy carries a hypnotic quality that women rarely experience. This gaze is not invasive or predatory. It is concentrated presence that makes the woman feel seen and understood on a deep level. The intensity of this eye contact can be simultaneously comfortable and overwhelming. The emotional independence projected by a man in sexual mastery creates an attractive paradox. The less he needs feminine validation, the more attractive he becomes to women. This autonomy signals that he won't be an emotional drain, but a source of stability and strength. The directed purpose that emerges when sexual energy is channeled towards higher goals radiates throughout the entire masculine presence. Women sense this driving force that goes beyond the pursuit of pleasure or immediate gratification. This higher focus awakens admiration and a desire to be part of something meaningful. This silent magnetism is more powerful than any seduction technique because it is the authentic expression of refined masculinity operating at its full capacity. And there's more. When a woman encounters a man who has truly mastered his sexual energy, her body responds with automatic physiological reactions that confirm the energetic perception happening at subconscious levels. These reactions cannot be consciously controlled. They are primitive responses of the feminine nervous system to the presence of masculinity operating at a higher frequency. The first signal is the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, which results in deep relaxation in the man's presence. While needy or unstable men activate the feminine sympathetic nervous system, creating tension and discomfort, the man in true sexual mastery induces a state of calm and security that women physically feel as relief.
The feminine breathing automatically deepens and slows down when close to a man who has conserved his sexual energy.
This respiratory response is a sign that the feminine nervous system has recognized a safe and trustworthy presence. The shallow, accelerated breathing that women often experience around other men indicates a subconscious perception of instability or threat. The feminine posture changes naturally. The shoulders relax, the spine aligns, and movements become more fluid and graceful. This postural shift is a mirror of the inner state of comfort and confidence that stable masculine presence induces. Women literally become more feminine in response to genuinely mastered masculinity. Sustained eye contact becomes natural and comfortable instead of challenging or awkward.
Women who normally avoid direct eye contact with men find themselves able to hold the gaze with a man in true sexual mastery because they don't perceive a hidden agenda or predatory need behind his eyes.
The feminine voice instinctively becomes softer and more melodious in the presence of a centered man. This automatic vocal adjustment is a response to stable masculine energy that allows the feminine to relax and express herself authentically without defensiveness or competitiveness. The feminine personal space naturally becomes more permeable. Women allow closer physical proximity because they don't feel the energetic invasion that needy or predatory men project. This spatial opening indicates subconscious trust in the man's intention and control. Hormonal reactions include the release of oxytocin, the bonding and trust hormone, which women experience as a feeling of well-being and connection. This hormonal response cannot be faked or manipulated. It emerges naturally when the woman finds authentic, stable masculinity. Feminine attention naturally becomes focused on the man without conscious effort on her, non-partal. Women find themselves observing, listening, and paying attention in ways they don't with other men, because his energy is magnetically interesting without being demanding or predatory. There is an abyss between the man who has genuinely mastered his sexual energy and the one who simply performs mastery through learned behaviors or seduction techniques. The woman detects this difference instantly through her energetic sensitivity, even if she cannot consciously articulate what she perceives. True mastery emerges from an authentic inner transformation, where the sexual fire has been truly conserved and transmuted into spiritual power. This transformation produces biochemical, energetic, and neurological changes that radiate naturally through the masculine presence. It cannot be faked because it is the result of genuine inner discipline and real energetic refinement. Masculine performance, on the other hand, is a set of external behaviors adopted to create the impression of mastery without the corresponding inner transformation. The men who perform mastery can imitate the body language, vocal patterns, or behaviors of genuinely dominant men, but they lack the energetic foundation that naturally produces these behaviors. Women detect the performance through subtle energetic inconsistencies. The external behavior may be controlled, but the energy field reveals tension, insecurity, or conscious effort to maintain the facade. This incongruity between external appearance and energetic reality creates a subconscious discomfort that women feel as if something is not right about the man. True mastery manifests as deep, effortless relaxation and naturalness. The genuinely dominant man doesn't need to think about how to behave because the behavior automatically emerges from his inner state. His posture, voice, movements, and presence flow naturally without conscious effort or strategic calculation. Performance requires constant mental energy to maintain appearances, creating a subtle tension that women perceive as artificiality. Men performing mastery often break character in moments of stress, revealing the underlying insecurity or instability that women immediately capture. Timing is another crucial indicator. True mastery operates at a natural, organic pace that neither rushes nor forces situations. Masculine performance often reveals a subtle urgency or an attempt to control the outcome, creating a pressure that women sense as energetic manipulation. Consistency over time reveals the definitive difference. Men in true mastery maintain the same quality of energy regardless of circumstances, mood, or the presence of attractive women. Masculine performance is unsustainable and eventually deteriorates under pressure or when the man becomes too comfortable to maintain the facade. Women also detect the underlying motivation. True mastery does not seek to impress or conquer. It simply exists as the natural expression of refined masculinity. Performance always carries a hidden agenda that women perceive as neediness or craving disguised as confidence. The most extraordinary phenomenon that occurs when a woman encounters a man in true sexual mastery is the awakening of her own authentic femininity. The presence of genuinely mastered masculinity creates an energetic field that allows the feminine to completely relax her defenses and express herself in her most natural and powerful form. In modern society, women often develop a masculinized energy as a defense mechanism against unstable, needy, or predatory men. This energetic masculinization is an adaptive response that allows survival in an environment full of immature or toxic masculinity. However, this adaptation suppresses the natural expression of the feminine. When a woman encounters a man who has truly mastered his sexual energy, her nervous system recognizes the presence of trustworthy, secure masculinity. This perception triggers an automatic relaxation process that allows natural femininity to emerge without fear of being exploited or energetically violated. Healthy energetic polarity is naturally established. The mastered masculine creates a stable, protective field that allows the feminine to flow, express herself creatively, and operate through intuition instead of constant analysis. This natural polarization is the source of mutual magnetic attraction that transcends superficial physical appeal. Women describe this experience as being able to be a woman for the first time in a long time. They feel safe to express vulnerability, sensuality, and receptivity without fear that these qualities will be interpreted as weakness or exploited by a man with a predatory agenda. Feminine creativity expands dramatically in the presence of mastered masculinity. Without the need to maintain constant energetic defenses, the woman can channel energy into artistic expression, amplified intuition, and emotional wisdom, which are the natural gifts of the feminine. The competitiveness with the masculine decreases because there is no longer a need to prove strength or independence. The woman can relax into her complementary nature, knowing that genuine masculinity is not threatened by feminine power, but appreciates and protects it. The maternal instinct can emerge without being confused with codependence. The woman in the presence of mastered masculinity can express care and nurturing without fear that it will be interpreted as weakness or taken advantage of by a man incapable of reciprocity. Natural sensuality blooms because the woman feels safe to fully inhabit her feminine body. Without fear of objectification or energetic violation, she can express her sensual nature as a sacred gift instead of a weapon of manipulation or a source of vulnerability. This awakening of authentic femininity creates a positive feedback loop, where the mastered masculine inspires the genuine feminine, which in turn feeds and strengthens healthy masculinity, creating a dynamic of mutual growth instead of competition or destructive domination. Women have an infallible energy radar to detect when you have truly mastered your sexual energy. It's not the external performance that impresses them, but the authentic inner transformation that radiates irresistible magnetic presence. This energetic shift awakens genuine femininity in them and creates an attraction that transcends superficial seduction techniques. Listen up. You can start your journey to true sexual mastery today with disciplined energy conservation and conscious transmutation. Develop the centered presence that naturally attracts instead of straining to impress. If you like this conversation and this deep insight, then make your mark here in the comments. Leave that sincere click on the like button to strengthen this crucial message. And to make sure you don't lose the thread of awakening, join us in the Seeker community. Subscribe here and come be a part of this silent revolution. Your journey to authentic magnetism and powerful energy continues now. Until the next deep dive into your true strength.